Hey, all you acrobats and doja cats. I'm Dale Rodman Jr. III, and this is Slow to Pro, a YouTube series where I go from slow to only getting nipped by the cheetah instead of outright bitten. Today's race is the finale for the 7th season of Zealous Racing League's Galaxy Tour. It's round number 10, the crown jewel event, and it's worth double points. So now is a great time to hop into their Discord if you want to get in on next season's action. Me, I'm hoping they do something with the BMW M2, maybe like a spec series. But today is an 80-minute mixed class league race with 16 GT3 cars and 8 GT4 cars. We've got a pit stop for tires and fuel, and we are starting off in P13 as we get the green light, with one alien and a yellow Ferrari behind us. So basically P14, because he's just going to go right up the inside as we head into what is technically turn 2, but it's turn 1 for all intents and purposes. And Mr. Alien is able to easily scoot up the inside, just as I got nervous about bumping that Audi there that I wasn't entirely paying attention to. And the Alien makes his way through on the Audi as well through turn 5. And now we are headed for turn 6, which is a spot on the circuit that I think I'm not alone in saying it's a spot that I struggle with. I mean, it's not hard to get through the turn safely, but it is hard to get through the turn with the proper pace. I started to find a little bit more pace than I usually have later on in the race, but I still have a lot of pace to find, not only in that turn, but quite frankly, every single turn on every single circuit at this point. Another point of pain here, the S's. Only time I got this spot right was pretty much on accident. And as you see in front of us, the race has settled in pretty quickly, and we're starting to ramp the pace up pretty rapidly here as everyone stretches their legs and gets some breathing room in front of them. We're going to end up finishing this lap with pretty much no drama in front of us. And while we wait for the end of lap 1, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. We are inching closer and closer to the 100 mark, and your support would be awesome. Drink water. And here we are coming up to turn 15, Cheetah. Just playing it safe. Don't want to get bit on the first lap. Coming down to the final turn. The Audi built a bit of a gap, and I've got a McLaren in my rear view. And that's the close of lap 1. Drama free other than a little bit of action in turn 2 in our mirror. And over the course of the first half of the race, I built a bit of a gap, a little over a second to the McLaren that's trailing us. And the Audi in front was able to build a gap of about 5 seconds by the time we got to the GT4 lap traffic. I made several aggressive moves to get through the GT4 traffic as quick as possible. Only got held up a few times. Eventually, the GT4 traffic ended up closing the gap to the Audi in front and building a gap to the McLaren behind. And by the time we got to the halfway mark in pit, I had already closed the gap to the Audi in front down to 2.5 seconds. But because I still don't know how to manually pit, I lost over 2 seconds by the time we left pit lane. Now, I wasn't too worried about the time lost. Even after refueling, I'm still carrying less fuel than I practiced with. Sometimes I just prefer the feeling that the car gives with more fuel in it, so I was confident that if I was able to close the gap through the traffic before, that I was going to be able to maintain that consistency and do it again, and maybe gain another position by race end. But what ended up happening, spoiler alert, is we did close the gap, but never quite had the pace to make a pass. So we ended up doing about 20 minutes right on the bumper of the Audi, keeping the gap pretty much under 1 second the entire time. A lot of the time less than half a second behind. Right up until the race leaders came around. So what I was thinking here is that I had been following this Audi for a very long time, and I needed to yield to the race leaders, and then I wanted to tuck back in and try to get a pass when the Audi yielded to the leaders. So I pulled off the line and let off the throttle just a little bit, just enough to give P1 and 2 a clear run without having to concern themselves with me in any way. And as we come through turn 2, there's now a GT4 car in addition to the Audi, both under blue flag. So we've got what the kids call a clusterfuck headed into turn 5. And I could have taken the Audi right there, easy peasy, but guilt got the better of me, and I thought, man, we've been having a hell of a battle so far. Is this how I want to get the pass? And watching the replay, yeah, that's how I wanted to get the pass. Why didn't I just do it? So go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know, is it proper race etiquette to try and sneak by your fellow blue flaggers when they come under blue flag? It feels dirty. Sometimes dirty can feel good. So after my Ned Stark moment, the Audi ended up pulling a gap of a little over 2 seconds. Then we started to claw our way back, but then the cheetah nipped me. Fortunately, the car didn't take any damage, thanks to the sand trap that prevented us from hitting the wall. And we went on to finish the race in P12, which is up 1 spot technically, but it feels like 2, because the alien that started behind us, he doesn't really count. Championship-wise, as you see on screen, we achieved our goal of P15. Next season, I'd really like to place 13th or better, and eventually make our way into the battle for the top 10. This was my last race with Vinny, the Ferrari. I'll be moving on to the new Audi. If you've got a nice classic German name for the Audi, throw it in the comments below, because all I've got so far are Olga or Helga, and I'm not even sure those names are of German origin. But that's all for today. Next few videos will probably be from Low Fuel Motorsport, so look out for a race from Silverstone in the Audi either later this week or early next week. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Dale Robin Jr. III, and you guys have the kind of day you want to have.